Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to be doing a mini mid-March thrift store book haul where I picked up about, I think, 17 books. And before you guys say, oh, last month you just picked up 50 books, what do you need all these more books, basically? I will say, I picked up these 17 books for like $9.50, I think, when I added up. So I pretty much couldn't call myself a legit booktuber if I didn't pick up 17 books for like 10 bucks. Alright, so let's get started. The first store I went to, I paid $4.50 for these 6 books, and let's take a look at them. I got Peter Brett's The Daylight War, which is the 3rd book in his Demon Cycle series. I haven't read the first 2. I don't even own the first 2, but it was $1, and it has the dust jacket was the hardcover edition and everything. And I was like, yeah, if I ever want to read it, I probably should pick it up. So yeah, this book will sit on the shelf for a little while, but if I can find some good deals on the first 2, pick them up and probably read the series. Alright, I'm doing the Irish Readathon this month as well, and I feel kind of bad. I probably won't get to the 5th book, which is Wars of the Irish Kings, because I didn't really realize it when I bought it at the time, but it's just an anthology of primary sources, and not that I don't like primary sources, I just don't think I'm gonna get to a 300 or 400 page anthology of ancient or like medieval and ancient Irish primary sources. So if I don't get to it, I don't get to it. But I felt kind of bad, so I saw How the Irish Saved Civilization by Thomas Cahill, and this is a fairly popular history book that I've seen tons of. I think it's from like the early 90s or early 2000s. I don't know quite how serious it is though, and that's why I've never read it before, but I figured for $1 I should pick it up. And next to it was also Sailing the Wine Dark Sea, which is one of the books in his kind of history series I think he has going on. But Sailing the Wine Dark Sea, Why the Greeks Matter, and it's about Greek history, I assume, so I picked that up as well. I saw The Sports Gene by David Epstein, and this was a prominent book, I think like a decade ago or something like that, maybe. And so I picked it up for 50 cents. I might not get to it. I'm not like a super huge sports fan, but I just read Lift, which is like a history of weightlifting, so it was kind of interesting, and it's just a different kind of like historical perspective. And this one, though, obviously is going to be more of I assume a scientific type book, but you know, I'm definitely branching out with my nonfiction, so I might get to it at some point. I think my science genre that I'm going to be heading towards is definitely the life sciences, and I saw The Botany of Desire, A Plant's Eye View of the World, and this is by Michael Pollan, and I've never heard of him or this book, but it sounded like really cool. I'm not even really sure what the book is even really about, to be honest, with the title The Botany of Desire, but it sounded really intriguing, so I picked it up. And lastly, probably my favorite book I picked up for 50 cents at that thrift store was Forging the Thunderbolt, A History of the United States Army's Armored Forces, 1917 through 45, which is basically just a history of armored tank warfare and that sort of thing through World War I and World War II. And I love World War I history, though I don't really believe the United States hardly had any of its own armored forces per se in World War I. I mean, tanks were brand new, but basically, I think we just used French technology for the most part, especially for mobile forces like tanks and that sort of thing. So, but it'd be definitely interesting to read, and I'd like to learn more about it. Alright, so I got those 6 books for less than $5, so I thought that was a great steal. At the other thrift store I went to, pretty much I gotta take back what I said in my used book tag video about how I never have good luck going to the local thrift stores, because obviously I got those 6 plus these 11 books, and I spent $5, and they were a bundled box set of Oxford Very Short Introduction books, and I don't have any of these yet. I have about 15 or so over there, but I picked up these 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, 11 for $5. There's a few I definitely won't read, like Shakespeare, probably not going to read. English literature, probably not going to read, but they'll look good in the collection. There's a couple other, like art history. I'm just not into art history. I have several books on like Greek art and Roman art and that sort of thing, and Byzantine art, but it just doesn't hold my attention very well. But the others are fairly interesting. There's the Earth and Earth System Science, which I'll probably definitely read. It'll go good with my my life science nonfiction reading. There's also postmodernism and liberalism, because I like philosophy and political philosophy and that sort of thing. It might be kind of interesting reads. And then, film. I probably won't read film, to be honest, but it'll look good with the others. But then there's also cosmology, which is pretty interesting. And then there's plants, which will definitely go good with the life sciences. And lastly, there's geography. And this is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, obviously, because geography is a very close and auxiliary subject to history. But yeah, I figured those 11 books, or the 11 Oxford Very Short Introductions for $5 was like a super steal. I mean, it's less than 50 cents a book. And I have a small collection of them going, as you can see. And for the most part, I do enjoy them. There's a few where the authors are kind of meh, or I think sometimes what it is they're obviously meant to be short introductions, obviously, and sometimes they just can't, what's the phrasing I'm trying to think of? They just can't order and condense everything properly, and sometimes it either feels like really rushed or they leave out lots of things, and it's just kind of haphazardly thrown together, but most of them are really good reads. I thought those 17 books were a great deal for about $10, and I hope I enjoy them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember, read victoriously.